Right, welcome to another episode of the Mental Health Podcast. I'm joined here by Hayley and Ruby, the podcast pub. And we're also joined by none other than Tom Houghton, comedian.
Hello.
Welcome to the pod.
Thank you, Hayley. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Ruby. Nice to be here.
We've actually got you on the show today, haven't we? Yeah, all these different guests.
I only came because Ruby's here.
I don't blame you, to be fair. Like. So, how are you?
I'm good. I'm tired at the moment because I'm on tour.
Just started, haven't you?
Yeah. I've just started. I've got 2 nights and then traveling a lot. And the rail replacement system in our country is pretty awesome.
Love the public transport system.
Yeah. So I was saying, I'm now come to Billericay via a lovely replacement bus from Newbury Park, which was gorgeous. Real lovely.
You've seen all the sights of Essex, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. It's been nice. But I'm feeling good. I'm very happy. It's nice. Thank you. You filled me up with biscuits and coffee, so I'm happy.
Well, exactly. You're living the dream.
Straight to it. Tell us a little bit about why this podcast sort of interests you, how it sort of comes into your life, and sort of what you would like to kind of share.
Other than me hounding you to come on.
No, your sort of story and your connection with mental health. Like, what does that mean to you? A very open question. I know.
No, it is, but no, I get it. I think I've very recently started in the last sort of 4 years, probably understanding that what mental health really means, rather than this. I always looked at it as this sort of like this thing you caught. Do you know what I mean? Rather than just a consistent thing that everyone has, and like the same as physical health.
Yeah, I think everyone used to think that.
It was like, oh, you've got mental health.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Oh no, how do you cure that and get rid of that?
Absolutely.
Rather than like, no, we've got
mental health. It's good and bad.
Yeah, exactly. And looking at it as a spectrum and all that.
That's it.
So I think I started talking about it in my comedy, in my stand-up, which is, I think, where you found me. And just because of what I was going through, I think I was in a comedy group for 10 years. And so then left them and went solo and on my own. And then comedy is actually quite a lonely profession. A lot of it is, it's not 80% travel. Then you get to the gig, and then you have this huge adrenaline rush.
8% sitting backstage, and then the 2 on the
and then you do that, and everyone clapping, hopefully, and laughing, or not, and then you have to leave, and you're back on a train on your own or in a hotel on your own. And so I think
a lot of pressure, isn't it? Comedy.
It's very high pressure, and then lots of downtime, and also self-evaluation, because you're the product you're selling. So if you get that, it's
and self-criticism as well.
Self-criticism as well, and then also when you go online, when people comment online and stuff, so you're getting this constant feedback, this constant self-doubt, this constant comparing to other people, and so
sorry to interrupt you, because I listened to Rob and Ramesh and all of that, and it's really interesting. Ramesh was saying the other day that he's filled the O2 or whatever he's done, but it was one comment. So he stupidly looked at, I think, some comments in the half time, and obviously everyone was enjoying the show, and there was this one comment.
Pinpoint the bad
one comment out of thousands, and nobody sort of understood how that would affect him. But I can understand it's just that one critique that's just puts out your flame, and that's all you're thinking about. So I could not do it.
It's really mad, and it's normally a comment from someone with an egg avatar, or just a fast guy,
either a hidden profile,
exactly.
Or
it's not someone who's actually got their face there or anything. And I did a Netflix reality TV show last year called The Circle, and it was an international.
I'm aware of that. Yeah, it's very good.
And
it's basically a popularity contest, isn't it? In all essence.
Yeah, essentially it's a popularity contest.
Yeah. So there was one guy a few years, I think it was the first one, where he pretended to be his girlfriend the whole time.
That's exactly right, and that's it. And I remember. Because it's a show where you're suspicious of people, because people can catfish, and you're meant to deceive people. And there was another guy on the show who's a gay black guy called Chaz, and his profile was like too perfect.
Yeah.
And so my first episode was like, that's a bit suspicious. Then suddenly on Twitter, every person, oh, white guy calls black guy suspicious. What a racist. You're a racist. What a racist. I was like,
obviously
that's the whole point of the show. Yeah. But as soon as you have that, someone just call you a racist online. You go,
that's it. People just go with it, don't they?
Yeah, because it's like something about social media, it being written, it's been like chiseled there.
And unfortunately, a lot of people believe social media. Like, that's the thing. Like,
sadly, yeah, and people, there are a lot of people out there who want you to be that. Yes. Looking for it.
Of course they
so
are.
It's
There must, that obviously, and that's the thing, the more you're in the limelight, because obviously you're good at what you do. I think you're hilarious. And so you're only going to get bigger and better. And
they'd be more open to more critical.
How is that part of your? I know, obviously, you are seeing a therapist and stuff like that. Is that something that you've kind of preempted, thinking not with
a therapist?
Yeah, no, kind of preempting what could come. Not going, oh, I'm going to be brilliant, but there's a potential I could be bigger, more high profile, and out there, and I'm going to be susceptible to more criticism.
Yeah.
And kind of hitting your own kind of mental health and going, right, I can kind of deal with it on a day-to-day basis.
In essence, like a preventive.
Yeah, definitely.
Rather than dealing with it.
Like a vaccine.
Yeah.
Like a mental health vaccine.
I think a lot of that is, definitely. I've got a lot of friends of mine in the comedy industry who are further ahead in their careers. Like, I talked about Milton Jones, if you know, from the week back ago.
Yes, yeah.
And then people like Daniel Sloss as well, who were maybe on Netflix.
Cool.
Who have then, they sort of give you the... Danny gave me a bunch of advice about when I did the reality TV show, and he was like, and this is advice that David Schwimmer gave me. Oh, wow. So it was real like trickle down preparation.
6 degrees of separation.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm nowhere near their level yet, but you do then talk. Don't read every comment. Don't do this and don't do that. I also think when you're becoming a comic, it's a very personal journey because you are putting yourself on there. Especially my style's very like, it's me.
It's you, yeah.
In the first couple of shows you do, you tend to you're trying to sort of self-analyze and go, this is me and this is what I want.
What is you as well? You're trying to find yourself.
You are.
This is very like hippy dippy, but you're trying to find your style, who are you on stage?
Definitely.
What are you trying to show, which parts of you? So that must have been...
That is tough. And then also, as your comedy goes forward, you then also have to start commenting outwardly on what you think about the outside world. And that's when people can disagree with you. Of
course.
Because with you sort of go, I feel this. They go, oh, do you? Whereas if you go, I think this about this, people go, well, I don't think that.
And you're wrong.
And you're wrong, yeah.
In essence, comedy has to be controversial, otherwise it's not controversial.
Well, it is controversial,
but you have to, in a way, because otherwise nobody wants to watch someone who's on the fence. It would be boring. People want to know your opinion, that you'll have people that agree with you, and actually people who even don't agree with you will watch you still. So
I think comedy's adapted, isn't it? We've seen the likes of, up until recently, like the likes of Lee Evans and people like that wouldn't talk about the outside world. It would just be about
anecdotal.
About his life, about his wife and his kid.
Fast forward to Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, and then it's completely just
as I mean, so I did a stand-up comedy master's degree. Oh, wow. And got a 2-2 because I did not do any of the work. But there was.
Where did you study that? Where did you?
Kent University.
Okay, so.
I want to know what the dissertation was.
A little bit of background. He also comes from a boarding school background, so we're going to get.
Yeah, I don't know if that's obvious.
Yeah, not stereotypical.
I'm not going to stereotype at all.
But we'll come back to that.
Okay.
But obviously, you then took a path into comedy. Again, I'd love to hear how your family responded to all of that. I would love to know because again.
So how much did you disappoint your family going to boarding school to be a comic?
Which one do I want to?
Should we go with that one? How much did you disappoint your family? And then we can.
So I'll just give you a bit of background of my parents.
Yeah, let's.
So my father is the ex-head of the entire British Armed Forces. So
quite a big deal.
He's a baron.
Yes.
He's the ex-constable of the Tower of London. He's
quite pally with the king as well.
He's been knighted twice. Yeah, it's a.
How cool.
Yeah, and I'm a clown.
So, you're the jester.
Yeah.
You're the jester in the
palace. In more than one way, big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I think...
So
growing up...
How was that?
Yeah, so the thing about the military, I moved houses about 20 different times before I was
I'm ex-military as well. I'm ex-Air Force. So
you get it. And so they sent me to boarding school. You get this sort of consistency of education grants to go to school. And at 6 years old. So this is all leading up to where the comedy came from. One thing was, I think the separation from my family at 6 years old was quite a sort of tough thing to do.
For us.
Yeah, and I didn't realize when I went to boarding school that I was a boarder. I thought I was a day child. So on my, because I didn't get it.
When am I going home?
So on my first day at boarding school, when the day ended, I went with all the day kids to the front gates and waited there.
And the teacher
and they all just got taken away by their parents. I was just left on my own.
That must have really stuck with you.
It really did. Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Was it raining at the time? And
it was raining in my heart.
It was. Yeah. My heart went black immediately. Yeah.
That was a horrible thing. But then also, then moving houses very much meant you had to sort of make friends, then drop them, and then make them drop them. Yeah. So my whole thing and how I got into comedy is validation. And
you had to be the funny one.
And funny is the quickest way to get validation.
100%.
You make someone laugh, you've made the connection.
Yeah.
So my entire thing was, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. So if I'm making people laugh, that's a survival tactic. It's my quick in.
Yeah.
And then, so my first actual comedy was an improv group, which is taking suggestions from the audience. Yeah, but that to me was like, tell me what to do and I'll be funny. But do you know what I mean?
What makes you laugh and I will do that?
I'll do anything, please. just
run at something.
Just like me. And then eventually went into, no, I'm now going to start writing stuff about myself, which is more personal. But that took a long, long time. But so comedy essentially was a survival technique and a source of instant validation that came from all that.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
To be fair, like I've done the same. Like Haley the test, I'm the clown.
Your defense mechanism is humor.
And usually take the mick out of myself.
Yeah,
like, mainly because.
But men are like that. And especially men. Obviously, women are as well. But men are really like.
It's that mask we put on.
It's the mask, yeah.
And the thing is, when I grew up, like I was fat, I was ginger, and I had glasses. Like, I'm not going worry me, but that's not a great look.
Nature dealt you a cruel hand, my friend.
I fell out the unlucky tree and hit every branch on the way down.
No, man,
you got there first.
Do you know what? I did it for a long time. I got bullied and I hated it. And then, it sounds really bad, Eminem's film, 8 Mile, you know, right at the end when he takes the mick out of himself and then his like opposition has got nothing on it.
Yeah.
I used to do that. I used to take the mick out of myself and people go, oh, well, we'll just have to get on now and have a beer instead.
I did the similar thing. I had severe acne, braces, really nerdy kids.
Oh, what a double act we would have been.
Yeah, we'd have been great, yeah.
Look at the glow up.
Sure, exactly. We're thriving now.
Yeah. What?
But yeah, it's that Tyrion Lannister quote from Game of Thrones, which is, never forget who you are because the world will not. Instead, wear it like armour and it can never used against you. Which is exactly what you're saying. It's great. It's a great one.
Yeah. And I think that's where kind of us as men kind of we feel like we have to survive. We have to put those masks on. And
just this is why you have me on this podcast. Just to throw it out there.
Why?
Obviously, in a man's world, you can imagine that the armour has to be very much there when we're trying to go for jobs because we have to compete with men who are
Yeah,
I'm just saying we all have it. But
are you feeling left out? Is that what it is?
I was fat too.
Not just you. We've all glowed up, haven't we? We've all done very well.
Yeah. No, but I think
probably done better than
actually.
Both of us,
do you know what's really interesting? I would love to get a lot of people who maybe were unfortunate looking, fat, had whatever, who have had complex growing up, and then if they've overcome that, I bet they're very resilient.
The Ugly Duckling podcast would be great.
That's
now a bunch of swans.
Shout out. So if you are an ugly duckling, send your photos in.
It's interesting you say that because I think you're right. Like, it shouldn't take away from. And I went to an all boys boarding school. And the toxicity of it was men are quite blunt with it.
Yeah.
But my sister went to an all-girls boarding school. And women...
They are nasty.
But what they are, like, men will, like, thump each other and be very blunt. Yes. Women will subtly take down and give each other eating disorders, depression, and, like, properly, like, women are...
And second
really
hand
hard,
as well.
really tough.
They'll do it through someone else as well. It'll be, like, behind people's backs. So I go, I think you're a dick.
Exactly, or like physically, but the women will reputation destroy very subtly and over a long period of time. So
calculated,
right? It's all top,
It's all toxicity.
That's why I'm scared. No, it's just easier to do as I'm told. Yeah, I know. It's easier that way.
So anyway, that was really tricky for you. So you were 6 years from 6 years of age all the way up until, when did you leave boarding school? 18?
18, yeah.
18. So
And it was
during
all
that
boys.
period,
Yeah.
how were you academically? How was like your family?
I'm severely dyslexic. So academically...
This is really strange. I was talking to someone the other day. A lot of comedians are dyslexic. I think that must be a coping mechanism.
Maybe. Like I can't spell very well, and I'm okay. I'm fine as far as talking and stuff. Although, yeah, just academically I wasn't very good. I was very creative. So music, art, drama, all that sort of stuff. But the school I went to was a rugby school.
Oh wow, really nice male energy. All the time.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're not playing rugby,
I bet you love it.
what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine.
Cricket as
I'm
well,
fine
by
at sports, so I was okay. Athletics.
I was
I was
okay,
athletics.
okay.
I was okay. But so what happened? I think when I was 14, I think basically a situation happened with a girl from the neighbouring girls' school who then cheated on me with another guy, and then I basically got castigated from the entire group. And so I can't remember, about a year and a half, like 15 years old, I can't remember that period of my life because I was just stuck in boarding school. It's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
And the
thing about being it was in the 90s as well, so it's not the time of like FaceTime and phones and stuff.
No.
So you are stuck.
Isolated.
But I
I
think in a kind of way, you were probably saved from even more kind of mental torture because you don't see it on Facebook. Like you see people nowadays, they split up with a partner, and then we've all done it to an extent, seen what your ex is doing, who they're with.
Everyone's accessible.
Yeah,
now.
and you can see.
Yeah.
And I think back in the day, you split up with a girl. Unless you lived in the same village as her.
But then, I love to be a devil's advocate, but then you must have felt like so isolated because obviously you don't even have outside support.
Except for MSN.
Or even anyone to relate to who, like now you can see everyone's drama and everyone, but you obviously just had to deal with it on your own.
Yeah, there's no one really to talk to. And it's like, I mean, maybe the Nokia 3210 had just come in. But when I was young, we used to go to phone home. We got given a checkbook.
Oh wow!
And you'd write out a check for 20 pence. Take it to the teacher. They give you 20 pence in return. Then you'd use a landline phone to ring your parents, and then they'd ring you back. And that's how.
Yeah.
So it was a whole process. And if you tried to ring them too often, the teacher would say no, because too much contact.
They were trying to build you up to be that strong. Obviously, with boarding school, it's a more upper class, should we say, kind of clientele that send their children there. And how was it with your kind of mental health? Now, and you've said that you're going to therapy, is it a very much not spoken about mental health, or is it very
at boarding school?
At boarding school, but also now with obviously your dad being a baron and all this sort of stuff, and very upper class. You don't hear many kind of upper class people talking about their mental health, other than some of the royals. But
Harry,
William, and Kate have been very vocal about it.
That's very modern, isn't it?
It's very modern. It's also very unique to them.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of a thing about when you are from a privileged background, that you feel like not worthy of it, like you don't deserve to have mental health issues. Like, what? But which is not how mental health works at all.
It's all stereotype. Well, what have you got to worry about?
Exactly. You've got this and this. And this. I mean, the truth is, a lot of the time, the kids being sent away to boarding schools are from parents who are probably not the best. They're
only had children because they feel they have to.
Mothers and fathers rather than mums and dads. Do you know what I mean by that? There's no.
Yeah.
You just have kids because that's what you do.
And they send them away. And you educate them until they've been made.
It's almost like child rearing, isn't it? It's like that. Yeah.
And you look after my children. I don't want to.
So there's this book called The Making of Them, which is about this boarding school syndrome, and. So I think it's called Nigel Duffel, is the author. So the catch-22 that happens in a kid's brain is if you get sent away to boarding school at 6 years old, even if you like your parents, you're like, so you obviously feel very alone and like, what's this? Where is my family? Mm-hmm. So the thing is, like, I love my mum and dad. They're the best thing in the world. Mm-hmm. And they've told me it's a massive privilege to go to this school. Mm-hmm. But I'm unhappy at this school. but my parents are never wrong.
Yeah.
So the school can't be wrong.
You're
So
wrong.
I must be wrong.
Yeah.
And that's the cycle that it goes into.
Yeah.
And then you are also, I mean, I remember my first night in boarding school, you're in a dormitory with a bunch of strange kids. They're all crying. You've all got waterproof sheets because you were wetting the bed and all this stuff.
Because you're only 6.
You're 6 and you have literally never been apart from your parents ever. And then suddenly you're up and you're wearing a tie, you're polishing your shoes, and it's
you grow up overnight almost.
Yeah, and you're going to prayers in a church, and and you learn very quickly, I think, that if you cry or complain, you remind the other kids who are going through it that they're upset as well. So you get shut up by the other kids. So it's a very stoic, don't show emotion, get on with it. And that's why I've done shows about this, and I've had like women mainly come up after or message me after saying, my husband went to boarding school, and after your show, it's the first time I've heard him actually open up about his time about it. And people, I think especially, I think boarding schools are a lot better at it now, but growing up in the sorts of 60s, 70s, it was, they weren't good places.
Any weakness or any,
and they were pretty cold places. It was like,
there weren't that much step up from a prison or a board school.
And it's like, I like, as a kid at an old school, you get to go home and you get to feel that sort of warmth. Whereas at a boarding school, you do just get a matron who quite often isn't the nicest. I mean, I had some lovely ones, but I had some really like quite damaged ones as well, who were quite cold. And so, like, I'm also, there's obviously massive advantages to going to private school. The accessibility gets, the variety of different sports and all that sort of opportunity. And there are some people who go there and absolutely love it.
Yeah.
My experience was that I had a very, very.
But you could argue that with any situation. You could argue that somebody who obviously didn't go to boarding school would have a lot of opportunities to do more family things. So you have to, although I'm sure you find yourself having to defend your background quite a lot, but there's opportunities and experiences you also would not have had.
Of course, I didn't see my mum and dad. But, that's pretty very bad.
People just see you and see money, and then people obviously that's obviously what causes.
And the other thing as well is because it was an all boys boarding school. We didn't get to hang around girls. So what would happen is that every 1 or 2 weeks after a rugby match,
girls, female,
we get put into a bus, a coach, driven to the neighbouring girls' school and shoved in a sports hall with S Club 7 playing for
girls 1 hour, boys the other.
Yeah, of course. And then but basically what that is saying, as a reward, we'll stick you with some girls. So therefore, you only learn to look at girls like sort of a trophy rather than an actual person.
Yeah.
You never get to be friends with them. So there's no wonder why then after boarding school, so many of the people who went to my school were terrible with women and treated women badly because they
were kind of a prize.
Yeah, and we never had an experience of interacting with them on just a friendship level.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in my second last year when I was 17, they let 22 girls join my school for the first time in the history of the school.
Right. Has that how it's gone now? Is it mixed?
It's now fully mixed, but this is a while ago. Yeah. I'm quite old.
Back in my day.
That must have been a massive shift. Massive shift.
It was insane.
Yeah.
We all went, weirdly, we were so freaked out by it. Firstly, the school implemented a 5-inch rule. So you weren't allowed within 5 inches of the girls. So you could
good at that, wouldn't I?
Exactly. Oh, well, when we first met.
And you didn't want to stand anywhere near it. It was more of an 8 feet.
Yeah, exactly. It was.
I'm just aware of people's space.
No, we've really built up on our relationship. I feel like we'll
give it a couple of hours, you'll be sitting in his lap.
Right, it's a bit like COVID. 5 is no, can't come close.
Yeah. And that was because they were just, in retrospect, it's because the school were petrified of anyone getting pregnant.
Of course,
and also the boys, we were so scared of the girls and so intimidated by the shift of, because the hierarchy's changed as well.
And it's not like you were about 7 or 8. You were 17, 18. It's like 17.
Hormones are flaring.
You're grown-ups near enough. So you're not meeting...
Yeah.
You're not kids meeting kids.
Yeah, and it was a very big rugby school. So with just boys, rugby was the only thing that mattered. Whereas suddenly when girls are in, drama and art and stuff. Oh, the hierarchy.
I'm going to go and do cookery classes.
Because then I've got friends and I've got actors and that sort of stuff. So a lot of the guys, we turned sort of, the way we were so uncomfortable with girls, there was a real metrosexual trend that happened. We started wearing pink t-shirts and dyeing our hair blonde and sort of like wrestling more. It is sort of like, we're uncomfortable with the girls, so we'll try and be sexual. Yeah, it was insane.
There wasn't it? In a way.
Yeah, in a
was
weird,
it like a kind of transition? I'm gonna go to like being like that. Then I might meet a girl, and then I might.
Yeah, I think it was just
how interesting.
Just us going completely insane. Yeah, just like we just had this like ogre life, and then these unicorns just arrive. I mean, like, what the hell's going on? This is brilliant. Brilliant, but terrifying.
So is that how you sort of fell in love with comedy as such? Like you did that more and more?
I mean,
not nothing to do with the girls.
Did you use that? Did you use that with your? Oh well, there's girls. I'll make them laugh.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I was performing Cats the Musical in a leotard on the stairs from 5 years old.
Fantastic.
In front of my parent and my dad.
Yeah.
And his army officer mates going, maybe not for the front line, this one.
How was that experience? So obviously...
What, the leotard of them?
Liberating.
From your family.
Have you still got the leotard?
We are not the same size now, but I'm shifting a few sizes.
But yeah, did you ever feel that, like that pressure of not doing that? Did they allow you to be you?
If I'm being honest, credit to my parents. And my dad would always say, like, one of the biggest luxuries of being successful is allowing your kids the chance to choose what they want to do.
Yeah.
And that was really good of him.
Yeah.
I think when I said I want to be a stand-up comedian, he did sort of go, what? Because the army is such
Are you sure you don't want to be a lawyer?
Yeah, or just do an English degree or something. Or like,
do something normal.
But so I remember, and him and me sort of fell out a bit in my late teens because I rebelled quite a lot against, when he was getting to the very high ranks of army officer, I was rebelling and started drinking, being like...
Oh, so causing him issues right at the wrong time.
Yeah. And then I think also parents more than anything just want their kids to be safe and secure. And the whole system of I'm going to tell jokes for a living just does not compute in an army officer brain.
No.
But then I remember like in my sort of early to mid 20s, I remember the gig that my parents came to, and it was with my old group, and we were headlining a gig, and we smashed the gig. And my dad after just took me to one side and went, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it now. And that night, actually, him and me and the group stayed up, and it was like, it was amazing. It was like a moment where
it's that light bulb moment, isn't
my
it?
dad had this like childish like, oh, and you could do this, and you could do this.
Like an epiphany,
and he was excited. And I was like, bored. Yeah. And now he's just the most supportive.
I think they need, like, all parents, like, I'm a parent, I've got 3 daughters, like, I'll probably be like it, like, I want to do this. Are we sure about this?
Yeah,
but
you're concerned.
I think you finally see, they go, yeah, okay, you found your calling.
It's undeniable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, like you say, parents only want the best for you, and they want you to be stable. They want you to be financially stable more than anything.
Yeah.
And to be happy, it's really interesting to hear that obviously from like a military background, the happiness was actually important.
Did he just, or did
that's
he
not common? It's sort of not saying
no.
Or did he just resign himself to the fact that you're not going to be on the front line? And
he never wanted me to join the military.
Oh, was he one of?
He got to the literal top of it. So that would have been a life living in his shadow.
And you would.
And I also was not apt to that. I did CCF. Like cadets at school. We went on a camp. I was the only kid who lost their rifle. And it was like,
no.
Clearly this guy is not meant to be.
That must have been a joke.
But it's nice to see.
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous.
It's nice to see though. Like you get there's that very broad split between the military dads that go, well, I'm in the military. My granddad was in the military. My dad, so my boy's going to be in the military.
Yeah.
And then
which is the same as boarding school.
Yeah.
I did boarding school, so my son does boarding.
Yeah.
Our family go to this school.
Yeah. This is our school.
Rather than what are you good at? What is your passion?
Yeah. So it is nice, and I think, like you say, your dad wasn't just an officer. He was
a gentleman as well.
Yes.
An officer and a gentleman.
Wow.
He was.
He was like, well, top of the top, wasn't he? So it's kind of like you say, don't want to live in the shadow because the chances of you getting as high as him.
So you just went the total extreme, the opposite.
I just won't do it.
Well, Dad. Well, Daddy. I'm going to Hollywood. Yeah, no.
So fast forward, you decided that's what you want to pursue, and obviously everyone was on board. So going back to sort of, again, you're sort of, you've been to therapy, you're still going to therapy? I'm
currently doing therapy again.
And more of like a preventative thing?
I had a rough year last year, and so went back into it. I think I did therapy during lockdown, and during lockdown I went for a breakup just before lockdown. So it was like, I had a breakup, lockdown happened, and my agent dropped me. Oh no! So I had.
You had the trifecta of kicks in the nuts.
You know how you've all got these pillars of your life, and sometimes more than like 3 or 4 tumble down at the same time. You go, okay, I'm a little bit lost.
Yeah.
I think I did therapy for a decent amount of time. So I think it's like the gym. I think you've got to do 3 months at least before you actually see gains.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I also do think you can be over-reliant on therapy, and it's like a wound that you keep scratching, you never let it heal. So I think I personally think it's important to then step away from it. And so that's what I did.
It becomes a bit of a comfort blanket, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what shit hits me because next week I'm going to see so-and-so to speak about it.
But I just know people who are like, they see 3 different therapists 3 times a week, and it becomes...
dependent, though, I guess.
I guess it is. But for me, I feel good now. I'm happy to take some time off.
You don't feel you gaining.
I don't think I'm near anything. We're not treading any new ground or this stuff. And I just said, what do you think? And my therapist said, I think you're right. We reviewed the work that we'd done, and it was lovely. And then, so at the beginning of last year, essentially, I moved out of the Tower of London. I was living with my dad. I moved into living on my own for the first time, had another breakup, and then went on tour without a support actor on my own. So I was suddenly like...
From everything to nothing.
Breakup, then living on my own and touring on my own. And I had this had this extreme sense of loneliness that I'd never felt before. Whilst also the Netflix reality show had happened. So online was getting the most amount of attention. But in reality...
there's no human.
I felt good. Human, exactly.
It was another repeat of 6-year-old Tom.
Yeah, exactly.
God, with therapy now.
It is though, and that's a really hard thing. So it's a very hard thing. You have all these messages and these DMs and stuff, and people say, "Oh, you're so inspirational. Oh, it's so nice to see. You're so fun. You make me laugh. Yeah. Oh, you just seem like the nicest guy, and you're sat there just going."
Yeah.
I mean, I remember.
Really? I'm currently sitting on my own.
Yeah, I'm sitting currently crying into my beautiful one microwave.
Yeah, it was that, and I remember like the first time of walking into my house and just going, and an exhale of like, I don't know, like,
what do I do?
What do I do? Who do I like? There's no like.
Also, I can imagine because you're touring. Obviously, being a comic, you get the high adrenaline. Being on stage, getting all of that.
Everyone loves you.
Then suddenly it is quite anticlimactic. You're quite drained. Then you feel lonely.
It's huge. Yeah,
I can imagine even with the compliments online, etc.
It's a extreme level of all eyes on me. And if it's gone well, huge adrenaline, or it's gone bad, huge adrenaline. Yeah. And especially if you're then driving just down the A1 into darkness.
Yeah.
I remember I was listening to the what was it? It was like a murder podcast. Yeah. And I was like after this gig, just going down the A1 for 3 hours, just listening to people getting butchered and going, I don't think this is very good for me, actually. I think this might be quite damaging.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, and so I was like, get back into therapy. It gives you a good checkpoint. It's good to be able to voice your concerns, and it's different to talking to a friend or a family member because it's objective, and they're a professional who can then sort of guide you and see the patterns and the triggers, and the right ones make you, help you figure it out. Yeah. So it's.
They alter your perception. I think that's really a key thing to think, because it doesn't mean you're wrong. It just allows you to unpick it and see how you could also see.
And like you say, like when you speak to your family, obviously they have your best obviously the therapist has your best interest at heart because you're paying them.
They do, but they also, like, my therapist sort of, I remember that happened when I like gone out and got drunk or done whatever again, and then she's been like, look, I don't need this. Like, if you're not going to do the work with me,
go away.
Then go away. Whereas your parents won't do that. They'll be like, oh,
what do I have to do to fix it now?
So it is different.
Because it's a bit like being a coach. It's a bit like somebody who does the same mistake again and again. It's like, I can only help you so much, but you need to make those choices and decisions. So you're just self-sabotaging nothing. Your therapist is going to say, well, I've given you tools. It's your choice if you want to use them.
It's one of the hardest things of realization. It's like you do have to do it. Yeah.
It's that taking responsibility for your actions.
Yeah.
And, gosh, if only my therapist could hear me now. Like, she will be a guest on the podcast at some point.
Oh, wow. That'll be a hell of an episode.
Oh, you wait till I get her on.
Yeah, I'm just going to be sat there like a small boy going, But she did for a long time. I went through my own, like, drug addiction, mental health battle. And for a long time, I didn't want to do it. I literally didn't know what... To the point, it's 7 years today that I went into the Priory.
Wow.
And... yeah,
you have to be ready yourself.
You do. I mean, I was a massive respect for you.
I got chucked out for doing drugs.
Less respect for you.
Yeah. But I got chucked out doing drugs. 100 grand of my parents' money down.
Oh my God.
They still love you,
and they still love me. And but that's the thing.
That's when you know they love you, right? These guys definitely love me.
Yeah, my therapist was like, I don't care if you come or not. But as soon as you take responsibility, it's not like going, oh, right, I'm going to do this. It's even, fucked up. I messed up. How can we progress? And not making that, not consciously.
The definition of insanity is trying to do the same thing again.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing. It's not because people say, well, if you really were sorry, you would make mistake again. To an extent, it's not making a mistake consciously and then unconsciously. Like, if you know, I don't know, you're going out and cheating on your wife and she catches you and then you go out again and do it, that's a conscious choice to go and do it. But if you're, I don't know, you have a breakdown and you lose your temper and you throw stuff. It's
emotional.
An emotional thing. Sometimes you can't. But it's going, right, okay, this is happening. Yeah. How do I? Yeah. And I think... for yourself, when you then saw, like last year, when you had your, should we say, blip, and it's kind of, you crashed down a little bit. Not, as you said before, not to the bottom and the darkest depths, but...
until I went, let's get back in the therapy, let's go back before, I think, I don't know if have we actually, I think that is the real point, talking about yourself and... 100 grand in debt going to the price, like a very that to me, like that is extreme.
Yeah.
But I haven't ever got to what would be comparable to that level of extremity.
To advocate, isn't it?
But this is, I think, what I try and talk about
is a good message.
It shouldn't have
to be
get to that. My wife's left me. My kids won't see me. I'm 100 grand in debt. I'm suicidal. I've now got an illness.
Yes.
It shouldn't take that for you to then take action. It's actually, I think the thing that affects so many people is that feeling of like, I'm not treating myself kindly. It's
just a little nickel sometimes, isn't it?
Like, maybe I do drink 5 times a week and that's too much.
Yeah.
Or maybe cocaine every other week isn't that good. Or maybe I don't spend enough time with my wife or my children.
Or it's just,
and we all have that. Everyone has that small feeling.
Or it's just that feeling in the back of your head, like, I just feel a bit low, or I don't feel like I don't want to do my hobby that I love doing. Or...
Exactly.
So unlike boarding school, when you were taught to shut it down, which you could have just stuffed down forever, I'm sure there were people who
and blamed it.
Yeah, but you're aware of how you're feeling, and I think that is exactly what we said this before the podcast. You're trying to raise awareness and advocate that before you go to those extreme lows, just go and talk about it.
Exactly.
Get yourself back on track and address anything,
That's it. Because if you don't do that,
you will then.
Or will.
It's a slippery slope,
yeah.
right?
So, I think just do not underestimate your own feeling. Just go, oh, well, someone's got it worse or someone's got this. That does not
No.
Devalue that small thing.
It doesn't negate your feelings.
Exactly.
Just like at the end of that, okay, there's stuff happening in the world that is catastrophically awful, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But that doesn't mean that you sitting there struggling, crying, saying I can't cope anymore is any less important.
Exactly.
Like, everyone's got their own struggles, and as long as you can, I think it's just addressing it, isn't it? Like, it's as long as you can just at least speak to someone. Like,
yeah, vocalizing it really helps. I've actually found journaling at the moment is really. I did a 1,000 words a morning. It's again, I think it's getting it out, isn't it? And
however that might be.
And I did this. I started doing this thing like just doing 1,000 words. You can do however many you want, but a lot of people write. I type it, and then just after the month you've written words a day, like going and reading over it, and then going, oh, I see the patterns there. I did.
That's interesting.
It just ding. It's insane.
Yeah.
I've written this in my own shit.
What am I doing?
Interesting.
No, but it is. You see the vocal patterns.
Yeah.
And the.
Why am I always doing this after I'm hungover and I've drunk the night before? And
it really must be interesting, because if you do have those, like I say, when you're journaling, you have the bad days. I wonder if it's, you noticed a pattern. Is it that you were just talking badly about yourself? Or what did you find your trends were?
It's really interesting. Like sometimes I'd talk to myself. Sometimes I'd talk at myself. So, I mean, there's more than one voice in here, isn't it? Or just in everyone.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
I've actually I heard that not everyone has an internal monologue.
No, all can see in pictures. Do you know that?
Yeah.
As well? Do you guys see in pictures?
Yes.
Yeah, I do as well.
Yes. And
It's a neurodivergent thing, I think, where you can like. I spoke to people that they were like, no, I don't have voices in my head. I'm not saying people are talking to me, but I sit there and I go,
voice. Yeah.
oh, well, in my head, I'm going, I need to sort that sofa.
Yes.
And then if I can't do that,
Yeah.
and they're like, I don't have that. I don't have that. I go, you are so lucky.
That's what
Empty.
I struggle with. I'm not good at sleeping. And a lot of that is just the
Me too.
voice in my head going.
Sometimes I will write stuff down because I cannot go to sleep. It will just be everything. It will be like, what have I got to do tomorrow? Business, oh, these ideas. And if I do not write it down, I just will just continue to think about it.
I do that, yeah. Oh, and extractor fan or white noise.
Yeah.
I've got a sleep mask with like flat earbuds, so you can sleep on it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Nice.
White noise is
With the Calm app.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said to my mum, I listen to the Calm app when I go to sleep, and she thought I said the Calm app. No, I know they're going, and then the A to Z on the A25 as you go like just a sat nav.
Now, if you said that to me, I would think you're crazy.
That's really funny. I mean, she might have a nice voice if you pick the right one.
Yeah, like if you could have some sort of like, I don't know, like online, like an audio book of just the A to Z.
Yeah.
It could be good.
It's very boring, yeah. You know that traveling in cars, you know why you feel sleepy? It's because it's meant to remind you of being back in the womb.
Is it?
Yeah, because you're enclosed, you're warm, you're sort of, so yeah, it's got
a movement.
A little bit of movement. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So I much prefer being a passenger than a driver.
Keep crashing the car because you're falling asleep.
I keep writing the car because I just feel I'm in the womb.
Oh, that's really interesting. So would you take your journaling to your therapist? Would you show them?
I would do that. I haven't done that. I quite often. Wow. I need to book in some further sessions.
Get the straight jacket.
I do quite often just reread what I've written of the week. And then
give them highlights.
And they go, so.
But do you also
here's a runway on top monitor.
Yeah. And then do you sort of think, does it change your opinion? So you go, oh, well, clearly I was thinking that, but actually that's not how I really feel. Does it sort of make you change? So say at the beginning of the week, I'm like, oh, you're a fat loser. But by the end of the week, you're like, oh, you were just having a bad day. You don't really feel like that. Have you, I don't know. Has it altered?
I don't know. I mean, I definitely, I don't sort of go, oh, I probably wasn't feeling that bad then. I go, no, that clearly is how I was feeling because that's what I wrote.
Yeah.
But it is amazing how you can see the emotions go up and down, and you're remembering the day. And
Do you even see that in like those 1,000 words from when you start
1,000 words is quite a lot of words.
to when you start to when you finish? Because obviously when you first start, you're like, oh, I hate myself. But actually, at the end of the day, it was actually not that bad. Like,
yeah, everyone's like a little novel.
it's like a little story.
But then it came okay at the end. But don't worry, tomorrow's a new day.
The little boy who could.
Yeah. It is quite often like that. It is quite often me talking myself around to, but come on, like it does
calming yourself
this
down.
This is a bad bit. Oh, fuck, this happened. I feel like this, blah, blah, blah. But don't worry. Okay, we've done this. We've done this. We've talked about this. And then by the end, it's like, so come on, mate, we can do this.
Random pep
So it
talk.
becomes a bit more of a pep talk. Yeah. It does often.
You're writing your own self-help book.
Yes, and then just pat myself.
So when are these little mini novels coming out then? Like,
Yeah, mate, you don't have them. No, you don't have them published.
I reckon that'd be quite good. You know, like everyone loves a crime drama and stuff like that. They're all like
Maybe.
cool details.
We all shared like Dear Diary that we had when we was like 10.
Yeah, like Adrian Mole did it. So
Maybe I'll do it might be a good comedy show actually.
Do you find
the Diaries of Tom.
you use a lot like anything that? Well, I guess you would do all of your struggles and things. Do you often find that they come to the forefront of your comedy? Do you obviously you highlight them in terms of like a humour, like defence mechanism almost? But do you find that your struggles are something that you use as a not a basis, but I don't know. Is it because it's so poignant?
I know what you mean.
You know?
Yeah, I think my shows that I write, I like to have the light and the dark and have a point and have a message and a serious tone to them and serious elements. I think what you run the risk of doing is being preachy. So you don't want to preach to an audience.
Yeah.
But laughter is a really good way of connecting with people and making a message. So I try and have the message and have the serious points, but don't overwhelm people.
No.
Just have it there.
Yeah, and by making it lighter in tone anyway, kind of means people can,
People open up to it.
like you say, open up to it, but also that you can actually make fun of it too. Like, we're all human. It's natural.
Yeah.
And it's a natural thing to laugh at it. On that note, what would be your passing or leaving comment with us?
What would you like viewers to sort of take home? What's your
From
best,
this?
Your best advice?
Okay. Well, so I think the main thing I'd like to say is that you don't have to have hit a rock bottom or to have got yourself into a situation that is beyond repair for you to take what you're feeling seriously. Sometimes, even if it's just a small feeling or just the tiny start of something about maybe you're not treating yourself very well or there's something to be worked on, that is still valid. And actually catching it before it gets to the extreme
Totally.
is very important.
And regardless of your background, so
Regardless of your
you're all valid in how you feel. I agree.
Yes, in a world that is obsessed with equality,
Yes.
mental health is it does very much
doesn't
it does not discriminate.
No.
That is a very
It doesn't.
That's a great ending point.
It is.
So Tom's on tour at the moment.
I am.
Please,
Yes, please.
please, can you go for it? Like, The Price is Right. Can you tell us where you're touring? Tell us
I'm
Everywhere.
I'm doing 56 days.
He's very tired.
So 56 days.
56
Go.
days. I mean, all over the place, including Ireland, up north, down south, Scotland, Wales.
And where can people find you? What socials? What
So Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm honourabletom.com.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining
Brilliant.
us.
Thanks for having me.
It's been great.
It's been brilliant.
It's been lovely.
Here we go. If you would like to send any questions or any stories, we would love to hear them. However, what is the email? We haven't got Mr. Briggs here at the moment.
It is hello@mentalhealthpodcast.com.
Fantastic. I'll see you next time.
Cheers. Thank you.